Hey everyone, welcome to episode 41 of the Pickleball Effect podcast. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
We had a comment from last week's of someone asking who Kyle is.
Forgot about that.
We did like a short introduction in your first episode, but hit us again with Kyle.
So Kyle, who am I? Local, Boise, grew up here, played a bunch of sports, football, rugby, snowboarding, all that stuff. Joined the Navy, did 6 years in the Navy. Doing electronic technician work and then counter piracy. Got out, oil field, ended up back in Idaho. And then my parents introduced me to pickleball it was pre-COVID. Would have been probably 2019.
Oh, you're pretty early then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's so funny. I feel like there's like two main stories you hear. One, my parents introduced me to pickleball, or two, COVID.
Yeah, it was before COVID.
Those are like the two stories. Because mine was like COVID. Like I had heard of pickleball, but I started playing more when COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's so you fall in line with the average,
pretty much
the average story for pickleball.
Yeah, and then played once. My parents never played again, and I played every day since.
That's awesome. And then pickleball wise, you own a media company.
Yep, I own Dink Smash Media. I work in the pro shop here at the Flying Pickle. I do some media for the Flying Pickle. I'm your co-host.
And then I brought Kyle on for one, like you've been in pickleball for a while. You've been dealing paddles. I think Rose put it best. You're a trunk slammer for a while.
I was a trunk slammer, yep.
And but you've always been invested in the paddle scene, following along with that stuff. And then you're very what's the word with social? You always know what the news is. You talk to everybody. You're coming to everybody. You're good at talking, and so you know the pickle scene really well, like news side plus new paddles, and you're good at talking. And I was like, that. I want Kyle on here, and it's been great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And yeah, so that's Kyle. We've done. I mean, how many episodes have we done together? It's been
close to 10, I think now.
Close to 10.
Because I think it was right at. It might have been episode. I'd have to go back and look, but I think it was episode 30 or 31 when we started.
Somebody else made a comment that when we hit episode 50, we got to get Doug on here.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You and Bread and Butter Doug.
Yes.
For a special edition episode 50.
Doug, if you're watching this, fly out.
Yeah, we're going to fly Doug out here. Maybe we'll go to Doug.
That would be even more fun. Let's go to Florida.
Let's go to Florida. That'd be pretty sick.
Doug, can we stay at your house if you're watching this?
Yeah, that's Kyle for you. But yeah, dude, really grateful to have you doing this with me. I've really been enjoying it.
I've been having a great time.
So this week, we played a few times together this week. We'll talk about that. And then we did our Kevlar shootout we scheduled
after 2 hours.
After 2 hours of play. So we'll talk about the results of that. We tested. I think we had 11 paddles.
11.
We brought like 15 with us, but it was too much. We couldn't do them all in the time we had. But we did the power and pop for about, I think it was 11 paddles. So we have all those ranked and pretty interesting results. There's a couple of surprises that we'll talk about and a couple that stood out. And so we'll speak to the results of our Kevlar shootout. We're going to bring back the 3-0 to 5-0 segment.
I saw that.
So I wrote down a few bullets here, some stuff that I learned recently that I think has helped my game, and some stuff I've been thinking about that I think might be beneficial to others. And so we'll go through those points, and then we'll finish with Kyle's corner.
Sweet, let's go.
So yeah, let's talk about what we did this week. It was game wise. So we played against a couple of younger gentlemen here in the area,
up and comers.
Some up and comers. They're actually really good. So. Yeah. So it's Connor and Grayson. I don't even know their last names.
I'm drawing a blank. I know that.
Connor and Grayson. Anyways, they're here all the time. They're really good. How old? They're like what, 16, 15?
Well, Connor's older. I think Connor's college age, but
no, he's not.
I think so.
Connor's in college?
I think so.
No.
We'll have to find out. I think he's like freshman in college age.
Okay.
Grayson's like 16 though.
Maybe I knew Grayson was 16-ish. Maybe because I see them playing together a lot. Mm-hmm. I just lumped them.
You just assume they're both little kids.
Connor, I'm sorry that you're a man and I didn't recognize that.
Connor played singles at the PPA this week.
Oh, how did he do?
Porter said he was killing it. I don't know which bracket he played in, but
He was holding his own.
yeah.
No, he's got a really nice little top spin drop that's tough when he's hitting that. Anyways, we played them. We just snagged him because we were just hitting, testing some paddles, or I don't remember what we were doing, but we were hitting. And then we went and grabbed them because they had just finished their 2-hour session. And we win the first game. They win the second game. And then we all put $10 on the table for the third. And they smoked us. They smoked us, dude.
They sharked us. They wanted the money.
Yeah, they did. They totally did. The worst part was the match point, Grayson serving, and he nasty Nelson me, dude.
Totally forgot.
He drilled me. I wasn't super paying attention to him serving it, and then I saw him coming at me, and I tried to like dodge, but it clipped me
right in the butt,
right in the butt, dude, right in the end of my butt. Like I felt kind of proud of that though, because I was like, I've been working out, and maybe not proud, but I was like, if I had been working out, maybe I would have missed that.
But now you have a dump truck. And
now
I
got a dump truck that got in the way. I'm just not used to this thing.
It was funny to me because like Grayson's like the nicest kid. Yeah. And so like him hitting you with a nasty Nelson was like out of the blue, and I was dying. Yeah,
it was great. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, shout out to those guys.
And then I had to Venmo his mom because I said, hey, this money is for your son. She's like, oh boy.
Yeah, I Venmo'd Connor straight up. So yeah, he must be a freshman. This guy's on Venmo account, his own bank account. And then we did a little like organized play thing.
Yeah,
last Friday.
member run event. That's what they call it. And
yeah. So what is that exactly? So a member run event.
Yeah. So it started out with just like on the local Discord, we had started setting up duper games and stuff like that outside of the club, but here. And then it got so big, the club just adopted it. So it's now like in the club app as member run event, but they still set it up. It changes weekly. They do round robins, they do duper events, they do tournaments. We did like a reverse ladder.
And they do this every Friday?
Every Friday. So it's
early morning. It's 6 to 8 every time.
6 a.m. to 8 a.m.
This is the earliest I've gotten up in a long time.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
6. I'm not a morning person, and I usually my work day has. I start my work day later now than I have in the past because I can, and it's been great.
You're your own boss, so you're like 10 a.m. start.
Yeah, it was early, but that was fun. So the way they had it set up. So it was round robin. It was BYOP, bring your own partner. Yep. There was 7 courts.
Yeah.
So there was a good number of people that they organized they assigned you to a court based on your duper. They put the strongest dupers at the bottom.
Yep.
And then the lower dupers at the top and the King's court. And they did like King's court style.
Exactly. So it was king of the court, lowest dupers started in the king court, highest dupers started at the bottom.
Which didn't make a lot of sense to me. Did you like that?
I think what it does is because it gives a chance for the guys with lower dupers to end up playing better people because they'll actually run into us. Where like if the higher dupers started at the top, they're just going to stay at the top.
That makes sense, right? So if you have the best 2-3 teams starting at King's Court, they're just going to play each other the whole time.
Exactly.
Same thing with the bottom.
Correct.
2 courts, they're just going to be playing each other. So okay, that makes sense. This way it mixes it up. You do see more teams. You're not going to play. We only played the same team once.
Exactly.
No, we played the same team twice. We played Billy twice, and then
that's true.
John and Crystal
won. Yeah.
So okay, that makes sense. But like the part that didn't make sense to me was like it's like we started on the lower courts, and then each game you win,
you go up one
progressively, or like
the games get easier.
Which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't necessarily shake out that way because, dupers aren't accurate for everyone, but the theory was the games getting easier was kind of
I think there was almost too many people because if there was less people in the same event, we would have ended up playing better teams again later on, but there were so many teams, like we had to win every game to even get up there.
Yeah, we never made it to the
we were
King's
like
Court.
1 away before the 2 hours ran out.
Yeah, well, we won our first one, then we lost our second one. I think if we had went undefeated,
we would have just got there.
We'd have just got there,
and then the time would have ran out.
And because there's a lot of teams that we never would have made it there. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fun that a lot of people showed up, but I wonder if there's a different way you could set it up where you do see, because like we want to play competitive games,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And I don't know if there's a perfect
So
way.
like the first games were competitive, and then it got easier and easier as we played.
Yeah. But I mean, towards the end, it kind of evens itself out because like the teams that are winning or playing good that day are staying at the top, and you still have the competitive games there. But we never made it to those top 2 courts just from time constraints. And I kind of wish they did rally a little bit because there were a couple times where we waited a decent amount because it was 1 game to 11 traditional scoring. But I've seen it done a couple of different ways, right? Like you either do rally or whenever the King's court ends, it just ends for everybody. And whatever the score is, that's what it is. You switch.
I played that way too.
And I think I like one of those formats.
Just to keep it rolling.
Just to keep it rolling.
Because there was some like lull waiting for games to be done. Yeah,
there were 2 or 3 times where it was a little longer in between where like we probably could have gotten 1 or 2 more games in. Without that lull. But no, I thought it was cool. Like the fact that they do like it's a member run event. Like they organize it. They do the placement of the teams. It's all talked about on Discord, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then also when they do Duper, they all run it through Swish. So I don't know if you've used Swish yet, but that's all integrated.
I've never like organized an event through Swish, but I've like the money balls in Utah that I've done have all been through Swish.
Okay.
Like I was like part of it, but not organizing it.
Yeah, you just have to like accept your game or whatever in the Swish.
Right.
Yeah,
it seems pretty cool. There's another app similar to that I came across recently. I did a podcast with them. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Score Pickleball.
Score Pickleball.
I feel like Score Pickleball is pretty intuitive. I like what they're doing. Swish, I think, is another one. Yeah, Score Pickleball is kind of the same idea where it's a way to organize these type of things. And I think Score has ambitions to do tournaments and things like that. But the thing I liked about Score, I don't know if Swish does this, but Score has a thing where like, okay, all your buddies do these money ball events. You log all the games, then it saves it to your profile, and you have history and records against teams and players. Oh, and I thought that was pretty cool.
That's nice.
Because I golf, or I used to golf a lot, and they have a lot of apps like that where you log all your rounds, and it keeps statistics for you, and you can see who you're with. Well, for golf, like how many putts, how many drives, how many you just see stats. If you're hitting fairways and things like that. And this gives you some like actionable, interesting stats. You can see who you were losing to a year ago and who you're beating now. And I thought that was pretty cool. I imagine I need to dig into Swish. I bet they have something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't been into. What's funny is Swish, the owner of Swish, reached out to me like a couple of years ago on Facebook. Tried to get me to use it, and it was not what it is today. Like it's grown a lot. It's sweet now. Back then it was okay. It was more just like kind of like just set up your game type stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but anyways, that was fun, and we'll have to do more of that. And I feel like the power of like indoor places like this, like the Flying Pickle, is that organized play because you just don't get that on public courts.
No,
and it's nice to show up knowing you're going to get games, that you're going to have a variety of teams that you play against, and you meet new people this way. Like it can be hard to meet new people at your level or below or above, whatever. For when you're just trying to meet new people, whether you're new to the sport or you're just looking for a new group to play with. Like this organized play is such a good way to facilitate that.
Yeah. Could you imagine trying to set that up at the park?
Oh, it'd be a nightmare.
It'd be impossible.
It'd be a nightmare. I mean, just the fact of reserving courts.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
It'd be horrible. You can't just go lock down 7 courts at a public court, though.
No.
It doesn't work.
No, the cops get called.
No. I remember when I first started playing, so I was living in Utah in like the Provo area. I was living and working there. And they had a similar kind of deal as this, where like every Friday morning at this park, you get there super early during the summers, like 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. They'd play till 8. It was just kind of first come, first serve. You get on a court, and they would just do king of the court, and it would just kind of filter itself out. And they have a king of the court program that's like a really fancy now, but they did do that. But I think it was early enough in the morning, and pickleball wasn't as big as it is now, where the courts were just empty.
Yeah,
but like, I don't think they could do that.
Well, even
now,
I say here, the courts are like by 7 a.m. The courts are basically
there's
full.
no way you could. But yeah, they were doing that in Utah when I was kind of first getting into it, and that was kind of the same idea. It was like a great way to go meet people, see some new looks and stuff like that. Yeah. But no, that was cool. I do think organized play is a big part of the attraction to these indoor places.
I was gonna say that's actually like the most we've ever played together. Like we've played against each other tons of times in like little tournaments, like TVAC and stuff, but like we never really played together.
Yeah,
that was pretty fun.
It was fun. No, we did good. The one team. So we lost to John and Krista. That was our second game. They played great.
They played so good.
Then we ended up playing them again later, and it was another tight one. I think we won that second one. Like it was like 11-7 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're good. Yeah, that was fun. And I'm like, I'm terrible at making friends and things. So this is a good way for me to meet people. Like,
learn some names.
Half the time I'm like, Kyle, like, what's this person's name?
That's why you want to be my partner, because I know everybody's names.
Yeah, you know everyone. It's good for you. But yeah, that was fun. We need to do that more often. Okay, dude, let's jump to the Kevlar shootout. So right after we finished playing that morning from 6 to 8, we for an hour and a half, we went and ran the power and pop tests for, I think it was 11 paddles. So let's go through some of the results. So just kind of like how we did it.
Okay.
So Kyle and I both did the tests. I had my speed gun. We used Franklin X40s. I have like a bucket of them that I use each time. Every time I do power and pop tests for my spreadsheet, I always do it here because you can't control everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the system is, it's us. It's not a machine hitting it, but you can control certain elements. So I use, the same style of ball. I always do it indoor look, do it here every time. And so
you have some control,
right? Yeah. And then, so what we did is to measure power, we normally I will do 8. I'll take 8 measurements. For the sake of time for this test, we just did 5 measurements, each, 5 each. So you just take a serve, hit it as hard as you can, try to keep it within, doesn't necessarily have to be in, but close to end.
Not pounding the back wall.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we took 5 measurements each on doing that for power. So hit a serve as hard as you can. And then for the pop, hold the ball out in front of you and just do like a little punch volley.
Yep.
To measure pop. And so these, comparing our numbers, the paddles didn't line up exactly, but they're pretty close.
Very close for the most part. Yeah, for the most part, they're extremely close.
And so I thought that was cool that they all lined up within the same vicinity. Like the top 4 and the bottom 4 and the middle 4 were all like the same paddles. And so we joked around in our last episode of who could hit it harder. So I took the average just of all the power and pop, and you hit it 3.65% harder than I do on serves, and you're only 0.5%
more
poppy.
I gotta work on my poppy.
Yeah, you gotta work on your poppy. But we all knew Kyle can hit it harder. I'm not a big hitter. Everyone that plays me does not lose to me because I smack it past them. Okay, but yeah, so looking at power. You had the Azul. So we brought paddles just so we can look at them if you don't know what these are. So Thrive Azul, this is a hybrid. This one hit the hardest for you.
It hammers. Like
it was a decent amount bigger than the other paddles that we tested. And then I had the Azul at number 2.
Yeah, so roughly the same.
Yeah, and then I had the Honolulu Pickleball J7K, which is an extra elongated, where is this one? It's like a little over 6.5 inches long. That's the J2. Maybe I don't have the J7 with me.
Oh, I didn't bring mine either.
It's like 16.7, so it's like extra elongated. It has a super long handle. So with it being longer and with the longer handle, like that combination is going to give you a little more power. Mm-hmm. So I think the shape of that was kind of giving the J7K a little more power. But this one being a hybrid, it wasn't necessarily the shape. It's not like heavy or anything that's giving it the power. It's just hits a little harder. And I wonder if it has some fiberglass layers in it, but that one for both of us was at the towards the top for power. One that surprised me for power, you had the Mark 1X as number 2. I had the Mark 1X as tied for number 4. So mine was a little lower than yours, close, but the Mark 1X was one that kind of surprised me of like how juicy it was. So I haven't done a ton of power and pop tests lately because my wife's been gone. She's the one that helps me run those tests. And so I hadn't run the power and pop on this paddle yet, though I've played with it. And it's on the softer side for thermoformed, especially for Kevlar. Like to me, it's even a little softer than the Ruby. Mm-hmm. Yet we were getting decent power from it.
Yeah, no, it had good power.
So this is a hybrid shape, a little longer than 5.5
handle,
inches. And so it's kind of a unique shape there with the longer handle. But that one stood out to me as like, I was like, whoa, like really? That one's one of the more power. Like if I was going to go line these up and guess, I would have put that one, probably middle to lower just because it feels softer. I think, the feel is going to make you think it hits harder or softer.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, that's what I was actually going to say is like, even though my number was very like, the Azul to me has a very harsh feel. Like it feels like it hammers.
Right.
The Mark feels soft, but the number, I mean, it's still got decent numbers.
Yeah.
So if you're after, it depends on what you're after. Some people like that harsh, like feedback, and some people like that more plush feel. So I do like that its numbers were still up there and it feels a lot softer.
And it was giving us more in the Ruby. So we had the Ruby with us. The Ruby for both of us on the power side was towards the bottom. Mine was second to last. Yours was third to last. On the pop side for the Ruby, it was closer. It was in the middle.
Right middle, yeah.
But the Mark 1X was giving us more power for both of us compared to the Ruby, though they have a similar feel. Maybe in almost, actually, I think I prefer the feel, like the plushness of the Mark over the Ruby. To me, it was a little more pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting called. It's Chris. Should we answer it?
Chris Olson's calling us.
Chris Olson. Chris.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm recording a pod with Kyle right now.
You're on the podcast.
That is a late night podcast.
It is.
You recorded so late.
Yeah, we record late Sunday. We were supposed to talk earlier. You said you had a good story for me. Is it pod worthy?
I cannot tell it on the pod.
Oh.
It's a story. Well, when you finish pod, we can either talk later tonight. I'll be up for a while. Otherwise, just call me tomorrow and we can chat about it.
Okay, I'll call you later.
All right, sounds good. Bye.
All right, see ya.
Yeah, bye.
Boo.
Now I'm like really curious what this story is. I thought I turned my phone on Do Not Disturb.
That means he might have double called you.
Yeah, it says Do Not Disturb
so he
on.
double called you. It must be a good story.
Wait, if they call twice in a row,
It goes through.
It was a double call.
That's funny.
Yeah, the Mark 1X was one that surprised me and kind of made me more interested in spending some more time with it because I had hit it and I was like, oh, this feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Probably similar to the Ruby, but it's actually giving you a little more than the Ruby. Where did it fall on the pop side?
For me, it was pretty low.
It was below the Ruby on pop.
Yeah.
For both of us. So a little higher power profile, lower pop profile on the Mark 1X. Where the Ruby is lower power, medium pop.
Medium pop, yeah.
But yeah, I think of all the Kevlars, those two felt like the most plush.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I would agree with that.
All right, what else did we have on here?
I'd put the J2K close to that too, though.
For soft?
Yeah, I like the J2K. I think it feels softer. Like I know you compare it to the Azul, but I think it's definitely softer.
Yeah, I think I initially compared it to the Azul as far as kind of the feel of plush, stiff, measure. But now I do think it's more in between like a Ruby and a Azul. Like I don't think it's plush as like the Mark with the Ruby, but it's a little softer than the Azul.
Yeah, it's got good feedback.
And power wise, it actually did pretty good too. It was tied for
Yeah, we're in the same place with the J2K actually.
Fourth.
Yeah.
J2K landed fourth. And so this is interesting. Let's talk about the J2K and the J2K Pro for a second. So J2K, I have a review coming for this tomorrow. So you'll hear my full thoughts on the J2Ks. I am a fan of them. I do like the way these play, but they have two models. So they have a J2K, which is this one here. And then they also have the J2K Pro, which is this one here. And so from what I understand, the only difference between the Pro version and the non-Pro version is the weave of the face. So the facing of this has like a tighter weave.
Okay.
Whereas the other one has like a looser, I guess. And when you look at them, you compare that to this, you can see that one's tighter, right?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, it's definitely visible that the weave's tighter on the Pro.
But so they advertise the Pro as being like more power oriented, more poppy. But when we look at our numbers,
the Pro is actually lower.
The Pro is actually lower.
Interesting.
On both power and pop, and that was for both of us. And whenever it's consistent between both of us, it feels like that's probably correct.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're both very different people. So if it's the same, it should be.
So that was a little surprising. And I did note, so I had done the power and pop on the J2K, and then I went and did a play session with the Pro for the review. And but didn't do the power and pop until this. And my impression when I just played with it, I was like, oh man, this just plays really similar to J2K. I don't really think it's that much different. And then this kind of confirmed that there's not really, I don't really think there's an advantage to the Pro.
Was there a price difference?
Yeah. So the Pro's like $10 more.
Okay.
But like I'm not like convinced that it's really that much different. Like picking between the two is almost like I like the colors.
So you either like black or you like, exactly. You like black or you like red.
Right. And so like they had a slightly different feel, but they were still pretty similar. Not enough to be like, oh man, this one's way better. I thought maybe the J2K was a little bit softer. So I kind of preferred it. And I think the Pro actually might be a touch lighter. So like weight is a factor. If you want a lighter version of the J2K, like the Pro is a little bit lighter, but yeah, it came in lower for both of us. All right, what else do we have on here? So okay, you had the Azul Mark 1X, J7K, J2K up there for power. In the middle, you had the Hirache X Kevlar from 11.624. You had the 14 and the 16 there in the middle. You also had the standout KC1. Did you bring that one?
I did not.
So that one's an edgeless. That one's pretty unique.
Yep. That's true. That's the only edgeless one we swung, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the only edgeless one. So that one landed in the middle for you. And then you had the Ruby Mav Pro. So you had the 6-0 Ruby, the Mav Pro, the Mavericks Pro, 15 millimeter, and then the Apollo at the very bottom. No surprise about the Apollo.
Was the marshmallow.
So I also had the Mav Pro, Ruby, and Apollo at the bottom. I was kind of surprised that the Mavericks Pro 15 was
as low as it was. Yeah. It plays well, but yeah, the numbers was lower than I thought it was going to be too.
Yeah, like if I were to guess, I would have put that one more in the middle, maybe even towards the top.
I'd have put it in the middle. But that's another thing. These numbers are all, just because the number's higher doesn't mean it's going to be the paddle you like. So,
but it gives you an idea of kind of where they fit and rank and finding one that makes sense for you. Yeah, because like if you look at the top, so your number one power was the Azul. It came in at 56 miles per hour on average. The Apollo was 51.6. That was the lowest, and so like that's a pretty good difference. That's nearly 5. That's like 4.4.
Yeah, 4.4. Yep.
Like that'll change.
Yeah,
like that's going to make an effect. My spread was a little bit different. My lowest was 50.2 and my highest was 53.8. So about 3 miles per hour.
Was that 3 point?
But yeah, I had the Apollo Ruby and Mav Pro at the bottom too, just like you did. Stand out, the Hirachi 16 there in the middle. Yeah, pretty much everything lined up there. I was a little surprised to see the Hirachi 14 higher in power over the 16. We both had the 14 above the 16. Yep. Usually the 16 will give you more than a 14, but will give you more pop. So it was a little different that way.
Interesting.
And then on the pop side, we the lineup shifted a little bit, right? Like we had the
you had J2K as number 1, and I had J7K as number 1.
Yeah. So the Honolulus both had bigger pop. The Azul wasn't as poppy as I thought the Azul would give us.
No, both of us are in the middle with the Azul.
Born in the middle with the Azul, even though it was higher on the power. This was the one kind of discrepancy we had between ours. So you had the standout as number 3 on the pop side. I had the standout number way down.
Yeah, way down there.
And I wonder if, because it's edgeless, maybe it's not quite as forgiving. And I just maybe I had a couple misshits in there. I don't know. I forget what of the 5. I don't know if it was consistent or if it was up and down. I can't remember.
Do you play a lot of edgeless paddles?
No.
Yeah. See, I used to always play edgeless paddles.
Do you think that makes a difference?
I mean, maybe just comfort of hitting the sweet spot.
Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that was really the only one that was like, okay, this is like quite a bit different than whereas everything else like lined up. But yeah, again, like the J2K was up there on the pop, kind of had a little higher power and pop profile. When you compare the J2K to like the power of like all paddles, it's kind of more like in the middle, maybe a little bit above, but the pop is higher.
It's good.
And so it kind of gives you that little medium power, a little higher pop combination, which is nice. J7K was up there. That was number 1 for you. Sometimes elongated shapes have higher swing weights, more drag, and it's harder to get pop. But that one was still up there for both of us. The Ruby had that jump up, like we mentioned earlier. Anything else stand out to you?
No, my Apollo was last for me on the pop too.
Yeah, mine was down there.
It's a good playing paddle. It's just soft.
Yeah, it's just softer. I mean, it's kind of the nature of that wide body. I think it was the only wide body Kevlar we had in here. Most of these were 60 millimeter. They're hybrid or elongated. That was the only wide body one.
Would have been nice to have the Fat Boy See where that fell.
Yeah, I should have brought that one. I don't know why I didn't snag that one.
Mine gets here Friday.
Yours gets here Friday?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, overall, this was really fun. And it's, but yeah, there you go. If you're looking for higher power paddles for Kevlar, you have the Azul,
J7K,
J2K, the Mark 1X did good there. Higher pop, you still had the Honolulu pickleballs.
Yep.
The Hirochi 14, no surprise, it had a higher pop level. 14 millimeters are normally going to give you a higher pop. I still had the Azul. Those were up there on the lower end. The Ruby was kind of there in the middle. Mav Pro, again, Mavericks Pro was at the bottom for power and pop compared to all these. It was fairly close to the Apollo. And then, but a lot of these had pretty similar feel. You know, the Ruby and the Mark 1X definitely were softer. The rest of these were kind of in that typical kind of stiffer to more stiff, like the Azul. But yeah, for me, I think the Mark 1X stood out as kind of like, oh, this out of this test, I feel like that one was pretty interesting with its fill and decent power. The J2K, I'm a fan of that one.
Yep. I played with it all week.
What'd you think?
I loved it.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I played it all week.
I'm giving it a pretty positive review. So, plus it's just like a good price.
So
a lot of good things about that one. Yeah, we'll have to talk about more about that one next week. And then those were the two that kind of stuck out to me. Like the J2K played nice, it had that good combo, and then the Mark 1X stood out. And then the Mav Pro is kind of the bummer out of this one. I thought we were going to get a little more from it. But if you do want that kind of medium power, medium pop, like it's not like it's just because it's at the bottom doesn't mean it's bad. It's just where it fell in line here. I just thought that was going to be a little higher. Yeah, that was fun.
It was a good time. It was tiring, but it was fun.
Dude, it was tiring. Like after our two, like we played for 2 straight hours and then going into this. Yeah, normally when I do these tests, I just come in, warm up, and just knock them out.
Yeah.
So this was a little different that way, but it can get tiring when you're crushing serves as hard as you can.
Yeah. 11 paddles, 5 paddles
for
apiece,
an hour and a half.
It's like right in a row.
I think that's what we did for was an hour and a half.
And what was funny, I was worried. I was like, oh man, is this going to like skew my numbers? But it actually didn't. Like some of the paddles that are way up there, I hit later on in that series. So
yeah,
it wasn't like fatigue was like super affecting the number.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good call out. And then, and just while we're talking with paddles and, other stuff going on there. So we both got the new Franklin FS Pro balls. Mm-hmm. So we talked about this a little bit in the previous pod. Franklin, obviously the X40 is super popular. They're coming out with an eco-friendly performance level ball. I don't believe you can go buy them, but they're getting like samples out to people.
Yeah, these are all betas they sent us.
Yeah, so we both got them. I played a few games with it earlier in the week. I know you played with it. What were your first impressions?
Well, so we played last night with some local 5-0 guys. It played fast. They were both like, everybody was like, wow, this is a fast ball for being a Franklin. It did take a couple weird skips, but like, I feel like all of these new balls have been
like out around type skips.
Yeah. Like just a few like serves that just didn't come up at all. Kind of like those Vulcan points, but I'm like, all these new balls are having some weird bounces, but I get those with Selkirks too. Every once in a while.
Yeah. Every like higher, like faster ball kind of has that. Like no one's cracked that code quite yet.
And we didn't break the ball and it got out of round, but I haven't seen a ball not get out of round.
Yeah.
Guys are mashing the ball. So,
right.
But no, overall I liked it and it biodegrades. So
yeah, I think on the packaging it said if you put it in a landfill,
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know what a regular one is, but I bet it's a lot more than that.
It's probably never.
It's probably never. So that's a really cool feature that I appreciate. And I think it's cool that they're thinking about that because pickleball world goes through a lot of balls.
Yeah.
And a lot
the
of
amount
balls.
of plastic we're creating is insane.
Yeah. And so it's, I'm glad that they're thinking about that. And that's like really attractive to me and makes me just want to play the ball like just for that reason.
Yeah. How did you like it?
Yeah. So my first impressions was very similar. I was like, yeah, this definitely plays a little faster. I mean, I don't know where it stacks, but it's definitely up there with the other kind of performance level balls. To me, it felt kind of light at impact.
Okay.
Like when I play a Selkirk that feels heavy to me.
Yeah.
This one feels light. And so it's, I'm not sure what I prefer. If I prefer like a heavier or lighter feeling ball. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know why these balls give you that different sensation because they're all like the exact same weight.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this one felt lighter to me at impact. And it felt particularly like jumpy, like on like poppy on counters.
I thought so too.
I felt like it was giving you more there. Like from the baseline, maybe not like similar power, but it felt like, it was like, whoa, that came off quick on like shorter swings type stuff. And so it was kind of unique that way. Like it was light, little jumpy. Definitely played like a performance ball. It does go out around like other performance balls.
Yeah.
Nothing new there.
I haven't swung any ball that doesn't go out around yet.
But yeah, I think this, definitely makes them competitive in the performance ball space. So, and they have a lot of influence.
I'll be interested to see if it replaces the X40 as the APP ball.
They have the X40 is the APP ball right now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Yeah. I think it should.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it makes sense that it would. Okay, other stuff here. So we both got the Komodos. This is the Andre Agassi brand. You ran the numbers and played these. I haven't touched these yet. What are your thoughts on those? So
the Control paddle. The Control Pro paddle is the Tonto, and it's got an aramid core, 14 millimeter. The swing weight numbers were insanely low. Like I thought my machine was broken.
What was it? Do you remember?
Like 97.
Okay, yeah, not many paddles are under. I think there's a few gearbox that low, but you don't see that very often.
So then I had to I grabbed a control paddle, like a paddle I knew was like 115, and it was 115. So I'm like, okay, my machine's not broken.
It actually is 97. It really is
97. And when I took it out and played with it, it was the first time I played with a paddle that was that light. And I'm like, I don't like paddles that are this light. It actually hurt. I think because it was so light when I was swinging, it just kind of hurt my shoulder and my bicep a little bit. But what I do like is it's so low that now I think I can weight it. I have more room to weight it up without getting it too crazy.
That's almost too much though. Like people, there's this like sense that lighter swing weight is better in general, but you can get too light.
Yeah, it's a little too light for me.
That's too light. Like the Mach 2 Forza 14 that I play, I really like. I don't like it stock. It's really hard to play stock because it's so light, and it's like a 1.08 or something.
Okay.
And even that was too light. Like you need something to push through the ball. And if it's too light, but like at 97, in order to get that up to like 110 to 115, where it's more playable, you have to put a crap ton of weight on there.
Yeah.
So like it's like too.
That's good for your business.
It's too light. Yeah. You have to buy tungsten tape with this. But okay, so that was that one. But yeah, that's a good observation. Like paddles can be too light.
Yeah, definitely. So like I know people are always chasing really slow, swing weight numbers, but like that was too low for me.
Yeah. No, I think in general that it's gonna. I mean, maybe there's somebody that wants it that light, but for the most part, I feel like there's definitely a threshold where it can be too light, and that probably crossed it.
But then they had the Venom. So the Venom is their power paddle. It's 14 millimeter. This is the one Agassi uses now, I guess.
Okay.
This one was 113 swing weight.
Okay.
And it played fine. It hits the ball hard. It actually has a decent amount of control. I'm not really a big 14 millimeter guy, and I actually liked it. The grip, don't know if this is like a tennis thing.
Oh, the rib grips.
Is that what that's called?
I don't know. Just these little bumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about those.
I'm not crazy about that.
That's easy enough to fix, though.
Yeah, exactly. But solid paddle. I think they're $217, so they're not astronomically expensive, but they're also not cheap. So if you want the paddle that Agassi's playing with,
that one. So it's carbon fiber 14. You talked
polycore.
Polycore. Yep. They said it was thermoformed. I'm not sure if it has the foam ejection or not.
Yeah, he didn't say. They just released like in Vegas this last weekend. So they're not a ton of info. He sent them to us kind of pre-launch.
Yeah, we'll hear more about them. But that one actually, I hit them against my wall. I haven't played games, but that one feels really soft. Did you think that?
No, exactly. It plays soft for a 14. I feel like it plays soft, that's why I liked it.
Did you ever play the original Ben John's Hyperion 14?
I don't think so. Like that first Yola he came out with?
Yeah.
No.
So that one is another 14 that's really soft, and it reminded me of that one.
Okay.
And that one's like a Gen 1.5 where like it has the foam ejection, but it's not like the same thermoforming process
that we're doing now.
Okay. It's like a kind of like a lighter thermoforming just to encase the foam in there. And that plays really soft for a 14. I wonder if, anyways, that paddle reminded me of that one. And so I do like thinner cores because they have that kind of lower launch angle. And but you don't see very many 14s that are super soft. So it was nice that I was like, okay, there's an option of a softer 14 that felt pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't, outside of that kind of the feel of it, I don't really know how it plays.
You have to try it.
Did it feel forgiving-ish?
Yeah, it was forgiving. Yeah, I played a bunch of games with it. That's why it felt very forgiving for 14.
Was the power and pop there?
It was good.
No complaints.
Nothing. I didn't feel like it was overly like it wasn't Gen 3 style power.
Yeah, but it was decent.
Yeah, but it was definitely enough.
And 113 is like a pretty good swing weight. I think that's elongated.
Yep, it is elongated.
So that's a pretty light swing weight, but not like
it wasn't
so
too light,
right?
yeah. And that's what really made me realize the difference because I had the 113 and the 97, and I'm like, 97's too light. This hurts.
So of the two, you like that one more?
Yeah, I did. And it doesn't have that tinging sound. Is definitely the aramid cores.
Oh yes, yeah. The 97 swing weight has an aramid core. Did we talk about that last time with the ting?
So yeah, because I brought up the alpha slipstream because it sounded like a baseball bat.
This one sounded the same.
Not as bad, but it's an aramid core, so it's definitely the aramid core that's making that tingy sound.
Yeah, interesting.
And you said you swung a Vatic that had an aramid core and it was tingy too.
Oh, it wasn't a Vatic. It was
6-0, sorry.
it was one of the 6-0 prototypes. Yeah, we had mentioned, or one of us mentioned that I wonder if the Chinese factories are pushing.
They gotta be.
Aramid as like the new innovation, and I'm not sure if I'm sold on it yet. I need to play with them more, but just the sound and feel alone is so different and kind of, I don't know. It's a little weird, right? Like the ting.
Yeah.
So it's almost like tough to get behind when it's so foreign and different. And
we're so used to the feeling of the polycore.
Yeah. So I need to give it a fair handshake, but my first impression is like, oh man, I hope this isn't what they're pushing next, you know? Because because like Kevlar was the thing, right? And now like the Chinese factories kind of pushed the Kevlar, and a lot of people adopted that. And it's, it's kind of fun. You can get the different looks and colors, but like performance wise, like kind of like we've noted before, it's not like crazy different from carbon. But these, I do wonder if these will hit harder, because aramid, I think, is supposed to give you more power than a polymer.
Mm-hmm. I still have it's like a 10 millimeter, the Ace Diamond. It's 10 millimeter with aramid core.
Oh, have you hit that one?
No,
much?
I need to get out there and hit it.
You should go try it out.
I want to see, now that we got a bunch of aramids, I kind of want to see how that one hits.
Yeah, we should try them all.
All the aramids.
But like that 97 swing weight, that's kind of tough to say to judge aramid off of, because it's so light, and like, because that's just the weight alone is going to give you much plow through and power.
No.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what some other ones feel and play like. And I wonder if that's going to be something we see more of. I don't know. Okay, that's that. A couple other things here. The kitchen bags are landing in people's play. You got yours. So Bread and Butter has a collaboration with Kitchen.
Oh, magnets.
Magnets. I've been endorsing these bags for a while. Grub, the guy that owns Kitchen, came out and visited me. Well, us.
Yeah, I'll say, since we saw that bag, we're like, this bag's sweet.
Yeah, like immediately we're like, yep, they did it.
Yeah. It's going to be hard to make a nicer bag.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's going to even try.
For your daily driver, I don't really feel like anything really competes with it.
Yeah, like as a tour bag, no.
Yeah, tournaments it's a little trickier. Like I traveled with it to Dallas, and it was pretty stuffed for the tournament day there. But like when I played a local tournament with it, where I was able to pack my bag better, traveling it for whatever reason that it didn't pack as well. But when I played locally here in tournaments, I fit everything in there fine. So like it could work for tournaments, but it's definitely a little tighter.
Did you get the Will bag?
The what?
Will's bag.
Yes, I do have.
That's way bigger, right?
Yeah, it's bigger.
Better for a tournament.
Yeah, that one's better for tournaments. Yeah, that's the ADV bag. But yeah, they're hitting. I did that interview with Grub. If you want to go learn more about those bags, you can watch that interview. I think I'm going to put together a full video review for the channel. Somewhere around 2-3 minutes.
Nice.
You gonna do anything for it?
I should. Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah, it's pretty legit. Yeah, if you're interested, go check it out. Kitchen, I don't know their website. Go look up Kitchen Pickleball bags.
Kitchen Pickleball.
I'll put a link in the description. But if you use the code PB Effect, it gives you free shipping. You do pay premium for it, but it is a premium bag. It's going to last you a long time. And when I saw so many comments online and Discord and different places where people are commenting, they're like, "We knew it was going to be nice, but it feels nicer when you get it."
Oh yeah, no, and I actually think it's nicer than when he brought his bag here. Like, I think it got nicer.
Oh, Grub's was nicer than ours?
No. I think the production ended up being a little nicer than the one Grub had.
Oh, yeah. They made a couple adjustments.
Yeah.
From the one Grub was showing us. Like with the sleeves, I noticed that they brought those in a little bit, so it was easier to put the balls in. That was the only one I noticed from his bag, but
I can't remember. Did his have the fence hooks? Did they hook? Because how you can like tuck the fence hooks away now.
Oh yeah,
that's nice.
I think his might have had that, but that's really slick.
Yeah, that's a cool feature.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff about this bag. And like I love that the shoe cube is separate. That was one of my favorite features. But everything is premium. The one kind of like con to it for me is like I feel like the accessory pockets. I wish there was like a little more there.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him about it. I was like, oh, it'd be great if we had this. And my idea was like maybe you sold like an add-on. Like just a small bag that you can fit into the main pocket, like a modular bag that you can take,
like a toiletry kit almost.
Sort of, yeah. And that you can buy
with a cooler name
as like as like an additional kind of accessories pocket. And he liked that idea, and I believe they're working on something like that. And so I have like a bag that I use that actually came with Will's ADV bag, because they do that. They have like the modular bags within the bag, and I like that you can pull it out, sit down, and kind of scrimmage through it, whatever the word is.
Nice.
And anyways, I think they're going to do that, and I think that'll be a nice little touch. But yeah, that was really my only like feedback on it. But no, the thing's sweet. Plus I'm a little jealous that you got the bread and butter collab. It's pretty sick.
It is pretty sweet.
I've been using a pre-production model. I begged Grub just to give me one because I liked it and wanted to use it. So he gave me one, but then I got a production model, and they are a little bit different. I was actually a little bit stiffer than I thought.
Yeah, it was stiff out of the bag.
Like you have to like break it in.
Yeah.
But that's when you know it's nice, when you gotta break it in.
I was like, I gotta break this bag in. It's awesome.
So that was sweet. You put a note in here about SLYCE speed caps.
Yeah, you know anything about SLYCE?
It's like a weighted butt cap, right?
Yeah.
That's all I know.
So it's like, so I just talked to them. They're going to send us some.
You hopped on a call?
We just got in each other's DMs.
Oh, okay.
Well, like they followed me on Instagram, and I was like, well, that's funny. I was actually going to reach out to you guys because somebody had asked if I had tried one.
Stu kept bringing it up.
Oh, it was Stu. You're right. Yeah. So I'm like, so they followed me today or yesterday, and then I sent them a DM, and I was like, hey, I heard, like, would love to check your stuff out. So they're going to send a few. Basically, you remove your butt cap, put theirs on, so they're particular to your paddles. So they're like, hey, what paddles do you swing? You tell them, they send you the butt caps.
Oh, the butt cap that'll match your paddle.
Yep. So you take off your butt cap, put that on, and it's like an ounce. So it basically shifts that balance point down. So I think it's kind of the same concept as like the MAV, like how it's cut out.
Where you kind of shift the weight down.
Balance, so so the swing weight's lower. But
yeah, we've seen a couple paddles now that have that like built in inherently. Like Gamma has that. Grip.
Oh yeah,
there's another paddle company.
I forgot you had that one that did that.
And so that's not an entirely new concept, but that allows you to use that for other
whatever paddle you want.
Exactly,
which is kind of cool. So
yeah, I mean, based off the paddles I've tested with that one that use the weighted butt caps, like it does change the balance. It makes the paddle a little bit softer. It doesn't make it any more stable.
Okay,
it gives you a little more power. Just having that extra weight gives it a touch more power. But yeah, it doesn't. I'm not totally convinced that's the best place to add weight.
So what I want to do is I'll probably do it on like the Shogun, and I'm going to remeasure the swing weight, remove the butt cap.
Swing weight doesn't change.
It doesn't change at all?
Stays the same.
Oh.
Just changes the balance point number.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be curious to hear what your thoughts are, because I wasn't crazy big on that, but maybe there were some positive comments about, the Gammas and the grips of people that use those, and kind of like they're like, oh man, this feels a lot better when I add an ounce or two to the bottom. So that's the thing. Okay, that's called SLYCE.
SLYCE speed caps.
SLYCE speed caps.
So then, what's this new protons? Are these new paddles, or are these just the protons coming?
Yeah, so there's a couple new paddles coming out. I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. So one is Proton. Proton, the company, is doing new paddles.
They're coming out with new paddles. And we have guys in our comments that said they've been waiting 5 months for their.
Yes. That was one of the things I thought of when I heard that they were doing that.
Can you please fulfill your orders before you come out with new paddles?
Yes. So that was interesting. But yeah, they're supposed to come out with new paddles towards the end of this month-ish.
Oh, soon.
Yeah.
Did they use the money from the orders to do the R&D for the new paddles?
Maybe. Oh. They're doing like a media kind of launch event at the end of this week. Pickleball Central invited me to attend that. I'm not sure if I'm going to go.
Is it in Arizona?
Yeah.
Okay.
So their headquarters in Arizona. It's just so last minute. And I just, like, I could go, like, I had the time, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to travel.
Oh, you should. Then you can play with like Pesa, and you can talk to Diescu about what he put on his paddle.
They said their pros are going to be there. And like, that would be the fun part to me is just hanging out with their pros, getting some videos and some interviews with those guys.
Yeah. They got cool pros.
Yeah, they do have cool pros.
Have you met Megan's nice?
Megan's nice. So. Diescu, it'd be fun to play, meet him. Pesa.
Yeah.
Is Pesa in Arizona?
I think, is he in Arizona or is he in Vegas? I think he might be in Vegas.
Because he did the Arizona League, didn't he?
Yeah. But I know like Kirk, I think Kirk played with him when he was in Vegas. So I'm pretty sure he's in Vegas.
Anyways, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to go to that. If I do, we'll have to do a remote podcast because it's like Sunday, Monday. I'll probably get home Tuesday.
Well, that'd be fun. We can do it.
Anyways, I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. But yeah, so Proton's coming out and stuff. And then I got an email from 11/6/24. So these guys make those Kevlar Hirachis that we tried. I did a review of their Control Plus. I don't know.
Their naming systems.
It's their CFC model. So it's like carbon fiber, fiberglass, carbon fiber facing layer. It's elongated, has nice balance. It plays really well. It's like $130. So it's a good value. I really like that paddle. It played well. I thought it kind of was towards the top end of the power side for kind of all court style paddles, and it has like an extended handle. So they're coming out with a wide body paddle. They're coming out with 3 models. So they're going to have like a Gen 1.5 model, a Kevlar, and then a CFC model.
Okay.
And it looks, it's got an extended handle 5.75, which is the longest handle I've ever seen on a wide body paddle.
Yeah, definitely.
And I like the idea of the extended handle on it. And the head shape itself looked nice, had good lines to it. And anyways, I'm actually pretty pumped about those. Those are going to be June, end of this month, maybe July. But the CFC model, because the one I reviewed was kind of towards that kind of more powerful oriented, like all court style paddles, like this could, maybe be an all court style paddle or just kind of flirt with that all court control line. And you don't see that a lot for wide body paddles. So, and they'll all be 16 millimeters. And so anyways, I'm interested in those, and I'm looking forward to those ones coming out.
Everybody likes the wide bodies. Everybody likes the thickums.
Yeah, they're getting more popular.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they play fast. They're forgiving, and I think there's a lot of draws to them. And so it's fun to see more people coming out with those this year. I feel like Kevlar's kind of been a trend this year. Wide bodies / standard shapes are starting to gain some popularity. We're seeing more models with those. Yeah. All right, dude. We'll finish. We've already been talking for a bit. So I want to do the 3.0 to 5.0 section.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of cruise through this, and then you can hit a couple of the highlights for Kyle's Corner.
We'll go quick in there.
So for the 3.0 to 5.0 section, so Jordan Briones is like a YouTube, one of the more popular YouTube coaches, trainers. He's in town for a bit.
It's like the YouTube goat.
Yeah,
he's the first guy
he's been
I ever
doing it for a long
watched
time.
on YouTube.
Yeah, he's got really good stuff. If you haven't seen him, go find him on YouTube. It has a huge log of videos and
you can go all the way
stuff.
back to, like, was it Primetime Pickleball?
Yeah, Primetime was his original channel.
The original channel,
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time, and he's really good. So we drilled together. He whipped my butt there. But as we were playing, I didn't want to ask for tips, right? I'm like, he probably gets this all the time, right? But it's just in him. It's a coach. It's what he does. So afterwards, he's like, "Oh, I noticed these 2 things," and I was
nice.
like, what did you notice? Like, tell me.
You're like, let me get out my book.
So he's like, "You're really tall, and you use your length well sometimes, but not always."
Okay.
So his tip was try to look for the right opportunity to lean in when you're dinking, either to speed it up or to, catch one maybe a little higher, be a little more offensive, a little more aggressive with like your dinks with angles and things and whatnot. But he said you could use your length a little better at the net. And like, just because I'm taller doesn't mean everybody should do this or shouldn't do this. I think this is a good tip in general of just like, if you hit a good dink, say you hit a good SLYCE dink that makes them move, instead of just kind of standing there waiting to react, like, dink and lean, like lean in, give yourself some more reach, look for a chance to volley the next dink, be aggressive with it or to flick it. And so he's like, sometimes you did it, sometimes you didn't. Look to be more consistent with using your height and just leaning in at the right opportunity. So I thought that was a really good tip. I'm going to start working on that. And then a couple of weeks ago, where I had been like struggling with being consistent with my drops. It's like I just like dreading dropping the ball for like a couple of months. I just wasn't consistent, wasn't good. And I was playing with Kenny Ortega here, and I was like, Kenny, we're just warming up. I was like, I am just, my drops have been horrible. Like, tell me if you see anything. So like in like 2 seconds, he's like, just get a little lower and lean forward, get on your toes. You're kind of just on your heels when you take it. And so I've been very conscious of just getting a little lower and just, even if I'm like backpedaling before I hit a third, to just like stop, kind of lean forward before I hit.
Get that weight forward.
And it like changed my drops overnight.
Absolutely.
Like my drops have been looking really good. I'm so much more consistent. My confidence is back with it. And when you're confident with your thirds, pickleball is so much more fun.
Absolutely. It's way more fun to be your partner too.
Yeah.
If I know your third's going to be good, I'm going forward.
Yeah. And so that was a really good tip. If that's something that you've needed help with your thirds, that look to just get lower, be athletic, and just lean forward whenever the situation is, whether you're backpedaling, leaning there, whatever it is, get on your toes when you hit that ball. Then a couple other. So this was a video I watched about a week and a half ago. This is my next tip. So this was that pickleball guy. This is Kyle Kazuda. He's in Arizona, I think. He's got he's another big guy like Jordan on the YouTube instructional space, but he did a video on letting, like how to train to let out balls go. Cause that's always been something I've struggled with.
Yep.
And so the drill that he suggested and that I did, and that helped me, was you just get a partner, you're standing across from each other at the kitchen at the net. I'm the person practicing letting out balls go. I don't have a paddle. I just hold balls. Let's say you were standing across from me. I'm just going to toss balls to you, and you're going to speed it up at me.
Okay.
So I'll toss some high, some low, just give you different looks, different spots. And I just let every single ball go by. And you're training your mind to look at these physical cues, like how big is their swing? How low is the ball? How high is the ball? Like you're looking for cues of when to let the ball go out. So you watch 50 balls go by, and all of a sudden your brain's like, okay, I know what balls, like you see which balls stay in and you see which balls go out, and I am letting more out balls go. Nice. And like, it just kind of builds it into you. And I'm not perfect at it. I need to do it a few more times, but I thought that was a really good drill for letting out balls. I never knew how to train that.
That's a drill I need to do.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at letting out balls go.
Let's do it this week.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a really good drill, because I've never seen I've like Googled that and looked for that before, and I'm like, I haven't seen any useful tips on letting out balls go. And that was the best drill I've seen, and it actually made a difference. Last one was I watched a video of Jack Monroe, is another pro guy, has a YouTube channel. He just was filming a drill session that he does. And at the very beginning, he just said, I like to drill with Duras because they're the fastest ball you can find. And then when you go play with other balls, they feel slower. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with the video he was making, but I liked that tip of just drilling with Duras. So that's what I've been doing. And because it does feel firmer and it's faster than the other ones. And then when you go and play games with slower balls, it feels so much easier.
In slow motion.
Everything's in slow motion. And so I thought that was a good tip. Like just drill with Duras.
Yeah, no, that's
those are my tips for 3-0 to 5-0. Give us the highlights for Kyle's Corner this week. Sorry, we kind of ate into that.
It's actually less time than you think. We'd been running for a while. The Ripple from Rhombus got pulled off the USAP list.
Oh my gosh, I forgot all the Yola drama this week.
I know, there's like so much drama we didn't talk about. Yola is issuing refunds, but yeah, so the Rhombus Ripple was going to be like the most powerful paddle, and it got pulled off the USAP list. They used the core test to flag it, then basically cut it open and looked at it, is what I read.
From Rhombus's statement or somewhere else?
Well, there were different statements. So like the original statement was like it failed the core test. Then there was
whose statement?
I think that was Dong's.
Okay, so this is Rhombus's statement.
I think theirs was
this
saying,
is why it failed.
Exactly, like it failed the core test. But then there was USAP's statement basically said that.
Well, I didn't realize they made their own statement.
I don't know if they made a statement. No, it was an email. It was an email from Carl, which is in one of the Discords. Somebody had emailed him and got some and then posted the email for all of us to see.
Sweet.
But basically saying they used the core test to flag it, not to. Basically, they flagged it. It was too hot, and then they cut it open. And apparently, the materials, because I guess it got a lot of EVA foam in it, and that's kind of why it got delisted, which is a bummer. I kind of wanted to see this paddle.
It is fascinating to me that they use the core test to delist that one because it was approved.
It was approved
before.
Yeah, it was already.
And then
approved.
they removed it. You couldn't buy it yet.
No,
but
that's what's wild is it's approved. It's not even being played with. I did hear he had started sending out like
some samples.
Yeah, did you get one?
No, I didn't get one, but I did hear you say it. Okay. But yeah, the fact that they used the core test to do that to his paddle when USAP hasn't even made an announcement that they've officially switched to this yet, like they need to tell people that they're using that before they do this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they use the core test to delist or keep the YOLOs delisted?
I don't know. That's a tough one. The whole YOLO thing is like, whose story do you believe? Like, it's a clerical error. It's not a clerical. Like, it's still off the list. So it obviously wasn't a clerical error.
My like gut says that whatever, because YOLO gets to pick the paddles that they send to get approved.
Yeah, every company does.
Every does, right?
Yeah.
So you know that it wasn't because of grit, because I'm sure they have the machines to test the grit. Do they have the machines to test deflection? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But like part of me thinks that they knew that these were going to pass those tests.
But they don't have the core test.
But they don't have the core test.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if the core test was part of the reason that those stayed off of the list, which if that's the case, and I know YOLO already stated that they're going to file a lawsuit.
Yep.
I feel like that's in YOLO's favor that they were banned for using a test that they wasn't like official yet, if that was the case.
Yeah, I want more information about that, but it is good to see at least they're giving refunds. So,
yep.
If you bought from if you bought it off a guy off eBay, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
But if you bought it from a legitimate place, you'll get a refund. New MLP rules: win by 2, and you have to be serving. But they changed the serve rule. You can release the ball from any height as long as your arm is in an upward arc on contact and the wrist is below the paddle head. Or the paddle head's below the wrist.
Oh, like your paddle, your arm holding the paddle is an upward arc.
Yeah. So like these the chest high serves and stuff from like Deckel and Tyson, they're all legit now in MLP.
So you can hit the ball at any height?
At any height.
As long as it's an upward motion.
As long as it's an upward motion and that your paddle head is below the... Yes. Yep.
What?
Yeah.
That seems weird. What are we going to see? So there's an MLP event this week.
Yeah, so I'm interested if we see some weird serves, but like Tyson and Deckel, all their serves are going to be fine now.
So you can release it any height. Can you toss it? Or...
the volley
just has to be an upward motion with the
paddle head below the wrist.
Huh. If you're tall,
exactly,
you could probably really crank it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Huh. Okay. That'll make MLP a little more interesting to tune into this week.
Yeah, we'll see if we see some weird.
That's in Washington D.C. this week, so you can tune in. I think they start Friday.
Is it Friday? Okay. We'll see. That'll be good. Pablo left Selkirk for Lotto. So Lotto came out with some paddles.
So Lotto, if you guys don't know, is like historically just a clothing brand.
Yeah, mainly shoes is what's big in pickleball. But,
shoes. Yeah, but they do shoes and clothing. They have a few sponsored clothing and shoe people in tennis and pickleball. Mm-hmm. But they came out with paddles.
I don't know if you've seen them. They look pretty out of a catalog to me. But
do they?
Yeah,
no, I haven't taken a close look at them. I think they had the hole in the throat.
It has the hole in the throat, but it's like a triangle hole. It looks like some of those weird like Chinese ads you get.
Yeah,
for paddles. But
well, okay.
So he probably got a big paycheck for that.
I hope so.
And then drama today. Ben John's on the hot mic.
Oh, another hot mic.
Dissing our girl Tyra.
No,
Tyra's so nice.
She is nice. I like Tyra.
But
what did he say about her?
He said that her serve is shit, and
was it her serve or drive?
Sorry, her drive is shit. And then he made a comment about like, did she even play tennis?
Oh my gosh, dude, these hot mics are just incriminating people.
Oh,
I think I didn't hear those details per se, but I think he was like on a bench or something.
Yeah,
like
he's on the bench with Annalie.
Like they know there's a mic there.
Yeah, so he's on the bench with Annalie and Lay. And Lee.
Yeah,
mom
and daughter waters.
Mom and daughter, yeah. But and then Annalie notices the mic and she's like,
"Yeah,
stop talking trash."
Yeah, Everyone should just talk nice to people
Exactly.
about people, you know?
Well, no, and then right afterwards, Tyra on Instagram posted a thing about being kind.
Oh, did she?
It's like, way to be the bigger person, Tyra.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's crazy, dude. 2 hot mic stories in like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Hot mics are just taking people out left and right. So watch what you say on the mic.
Just in general, just be nice.
Yeah, or just be a good person.
Yeah, just be a good person. And you'll be just fine, even if there is a hot mic.
It's true. And what do you... Oh, you have something here about the... Yeah, this is a good one to talk about real quick. The paddle, the sticker.
Oh, yeah, I threw that one in there.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Dude, that was... Okay, here's the story for those listening if you haven't heard. So, PPA Sacramento this week. James Ignatowicz, one of the top males in the mixed, is playing a mixed match. He smashes an overhead and puts it away. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, okay, cool. They're walking back to their lines. Whistle blows. Fault is called. The sticker that you put on, that PPA puts on their paddle saying it's approved, it passed their deflection tests, fell off of James's paddle and landed in the kitchen as he's like walking away. Ref says fault, and they do a review. They maintain the call as a fault. Okay, so technically, according to the rules,
it's fault.
I wish I should have wrote down the actual rules, like the wording of it. But it's like any clothing, anything that's like part of you that lands into the kitchen. Like if
your hat falls,
if
in
your
the
hat
kitchen,
or glasses fell
exactly.
off, then that would be a fault. But this was a sticker, and like it's like, okay, use like common sense, right?
I think there should be, and I'm sure PPA will change this after this weekend.
I think they did.
There should be a exception for that sticker because they're the ones that applied it. Like James didn't even apply it.
Yeah, I mean, but just the fact that it's not going to alter anything, right?
No.
And so that seems silly to me. And you know, it has never happened before. They'll fix it. And it's just funny that happened to James because he had that split step call on him last year.
The split step heard around. Was that last year? That's 2 years ago.
No, that was last year.
Oh, was it the split step heard around the world?
Yeah. So he did like this split step that was really loud when he hit the ground.
They called him for a hindrance.
And a ref, I say blow the whistle, but you know they called a fault on him for being too loud.
Yep.
And he just he did a split step.
Oh, that was terrible.
And I think they held to that.
They did
too. And so it was just funny that it happened to James again. And you know they ended up winning that game. Like I don't think they were going to lose that match anyways, regardless of what that call was. But anyways, it happened. I'm sure they'll fix the rules and account for that. But that was a funny one.
So yeah, that's all. I think that's all we got for this week.
All right, that wraps us up. Episode 41. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Have a great day. Go buy a Kevlar paddle.